Please, is there a plan put in place to give scholarships or student loans to the youth in the aviation sector?
Yes, we have plans to support. But let me first of all say that it's a priority matter before the President to support the young men and women to have vocations and trades. And that's why the Business Development Minister has been working actively on the entrepreneurship program for the young men and women. We're consulting the Student Loan Trust Fund on how we can structure some support mechanisms for young men and women who are going into aviation professions. It's just the beginning. We've not even constructed the facilities. But by the time we finish with those, I'm sure we'll have a program well laid out that will support them. In our area, it should not be a problem because of the deficit that we have in, say, the area of having pilots. As I indicated before, from our reports, 5,000 more pilots are required globally. So if we can get 50 of them from Ghana, that's very good for us. So what we need to do is have a program that will support the poor but needy students, as we say, who are brilliant enough and would want to go into these kinds of areas, whether they want to be pilots, they want to be aircraft technicians, and so on and so forth. Because they can really be employed and then they can pay back whatever money that I give to them. So besides the student loan fund, trust fund, we also would be talking to the banks and those who wish to give credit facilities to the students, knowing very well that when they finish they can pay back. Let me give you an idea. The cost of training a pilot is between $60,000 to $100,000. There's no point in developing these facilities and not having students in there, or allow only rich people from out of the country to come in and train. So the government has to do something about that. We in deliberations on the best way to support the training of the aspiring aviation career persons. So there's a program on that as well.
Ghana is going for a home-based career or a national career, as is popularly known. The home-based career of Ghana would fly the colors of Ghana. Does the ministry have a setup that will train Ghanaians as pilots and other aviation-related jobs?
The ministry does not immediately have a program like that, but we are placing within the agreement that we're going to enter with our partners a program of that nature, which essentially means that partners such as Ethiopian Airlines that we are engaging at this point in time, which has got a capacity to train all the levels of aviation career personnel, from pilots to technicians to commercial operators to crew and so on and so forth. Yes, it's our plan. We'll be advising the home-based career to put a human resource development program in place to ensure that they train sufficient numbers to come and operate the airline for them, as well as support the operations of other airlines in the country. It's vital. Without the human resource, you cannot really operate an airline. We must have them. And the facilities in Addis Ababa for the Ethiopian Airlines are superb. They're world standard. They've been doing well over the years. If you go there today, you find a large number of youth going there every day to undertake various levels of training. We are planning to set up such an outfit in Ghana, but in the immediate, we'll send Ghanaians over there and to any other place where we can afford for them to train and return and operate the airline. But by the time we're through, we get an airline into end of its first year, going to second year. I'm sure we'll have some of these facilities set up in Ghana. Because investors have come, they've signed MOUs with us, and they're ready to come and set up those plans. They're now negotiating with their financiers to come back and let us know when they can start.
What are the plans of the ministry to strengthen the local aviation industry players?
Well, first of all, there are a number of things that one has to consider. There are the cost elements of the airline. We can use policy to keep that cost down, to improve their profitability so they can pay revenues to government as well and be able to make over and above their costs. That's what we should do. They tend to complain about the fuel cost, the aviation fuel cost, comparable to other countries. I think Ghana and Burkina are par. We're trying to do some analysis so we can convince the finance minister that it makes sense to reduce the cost of aviation fuel. We've asked for some inputs from the airlines themselves. They've not so far brought that to us. But if we're able to address this matter seriously and reduce the cost of airline operations, I think they'll be happy. They could probably undertake more flights, and maybe more airlines will also come into the country. If they grow in their numbers, and we're able to support them with these policies, they'll be able to move around the country rapidly. Of course, airfares will come down a bit, and so some of us who think air travel is a luxury may then begin to see that it's just a necessary thing that you should pay for, and that may not be as expensive as we think it is. So all these are things we should do as government to support them. From those angles, I'm sure we'll be able to create the right environment that will help them to strengthen their operations and grow and support the national development effort. The most important thing about setting up the nation, say that we have our own flag being flown globally, that's getting the home-based carrier to do what is good for the nation. Jamaica, Bahamas, Seychelles, Rwanda, Namibia, I think Benin, many of them are trying to sign these agreements with us so they can come to Ghana, and their airlines can also come to Ghana. So that confidence really is helping to boost the aviation sector. What is left for us in the ministry, besides the policy formulation, is to create awareness of what aviation does to the economy, the national economy. And that's so important. The jobs that will be created, the incomes that will be made by you and I, the supporting jobs, whether you're selling things at a duty-free shop or some food joints not too far from the airport, or transport service to the airport, or construction, car parks, and so on and so forth. These are all supporting things that would really help strengthen the aviation sector and improve the national economy.
Honorable, we are building a national carrier. What is in it for Ghanaians?
There are many things that are in it for Ghanaians. There are investment opportunities and there are jobs. We've learned from that experience to say that the state should only come in and own 10% of the shares for the sake of the flag, for the sake of the airline being based in Ghana. But the 90% will be shared amongst various investors to own some shares in there to fly your own airline. Because once you buy some 10%, 20%, 50 shares from the stock exchange, you can say I'm flying my own airline, which I also own. So the state will not be interfering too much. The state will simply have its representative on the board. The state will set policy guidelines and allow you to operate under good corporate governance principles to ensure that the company survives, is profitable, and continues to expand and grow. So Ghanaians have a lot to earn out of this. The business opportunities to invest in the company, the jobs that they would get by way of becoming crews within the airlines, by way of becoming technicians to repair the aircrafts and so on and so forth. There's many opportunities there for Ghanaians. And that's why the president wanted us to do it as quickly as possible.
We've heard of Glyco, Guel, Africa World Airlines, and other companies, but we've not heard of a single entity, like a single person, one person being part of that. Yeah. So if you can assure Ghanaians that it is possible.
The evaluation that we do now, together with Ethiopian Airlines, and decide on what percentage should be floated in the stock exchange and what price. Once that is done, it will be announced to the general public. The prospectus will be there for you to read and see if you're convinced about the financial projection and whether you should put your money there or not. We've had at least 2 meetings with the Ghana Stock Exchange. We've advised on what we should do. There's a checklist of items that we're building on to be ready enough to approach them when we've set all our things in order. And we're sure that by that stage, the public will know what is available for them to be part of. So the assurance I can give to you is simply that it's going to be our airline collective, not the government alone, not the state alone, with all of us as Ghanaians. And the shares will offer not just to be Ghanaians in Ghana, but Ghanaians out in Europe, North America, South America, South Africa, will buy as well. You know, many of our brothers and sisters travel to different parts of the world. When they're there and they know their own shares in this airline, they're coming back to Ghana, they would like to fly in there rather than going to another home-based carrier. The total sum of funds that we need will be made public, and to the investors as well. As it is now, the investors don't know the total cost of what it is we're looking out for, and that's because of the negotiations going on between us and Ethiopia. But certainly we'll block a certain proportion of that to go through the stock exchange. Well, the first thing I can bring to mind is simply that we're going to set up the home-based carrier. There's a priority matter that everybody's been looking out to. Wherever I go, they keep asking me, are we going to have an airline? I say, yes, we're going to have one. So it's our top priority to make sure that we conclude what we've started off and get that airline operational. The other ancillary services I mentioned, the repairs, servicing of the aircraft, requiring various facilities and structures, that will also be undertaken. Improving the safety and security by decoupling the functions of regulation and service provision by the Civil Aviation Authority. One thing Ghanaians don't know is that the cost of chartering an aircraft may not be as expensive as they think.
Okay.
Some people organize programs, sad to say, sometimes funeral programs, and they go taking STC, VVIP to go there and come back. If you multiply all those costs and put them against getting a small aircraft, and we intend to bring some of those small, we call them light aircraft to the country, which take about 18 to 20, 24, 30 people. The cost may not be too different, and you're able to go there quickly and come back. So all these are business things that we're putting together in policy form to create the right environment for people to invest in there. There are others who are even prepared to bring their pictures to Ghana to help configure some aircraft. These are all things that simply point in the direction of confidence in what we're doing in the aviation sector, but largely in the policy direction of the nation and the run of the economy.
It would be appreciated if you share your New Year message with aviation stakeholders and the general public at large.
Thank you for that opportunity. What I can simply say is to wish them a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and to tell them that they've got the right government, the right ministerial setup to formulate the right policies to help their business to grow and expand. And so it's incumbent upon them to also bring up their ideas and their policy suggestions on what we should do so we can work together as partners. It will become a win-win situation for government and for business. They should expect to see improvements in the infrastructure. They should expect to see improvements of the plans to build the capacity for the aviation sector. We should expect to see a lot more that they should also contribute to national development effort, perhaps through social responsibility initiatives aside. I cannot count so many of the airlines, international airlines in particular, who have built schools and clinics and so on and so forth. Even though many of us who travel out of the country make some contributions through our little change on the aircraft when we come to Ghana. The change that you cannot bring to Ghana, you put in a box, that goes to build a huge pool of resources. But I haven't seen too much. Maybe it's happening, I don't know yet. But the airline should also work to support the development of some essential and social services, clinics, water projects, and so on, to complement what the President is trying to do through his various ministries.
We've heard it all from the Minister of Aviation himself. Ghanaians, we have a lot to expect from the aviation sector next year. Let's come together and help the ministry to achieve its aim. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from the GH-Aviation crew. We are on the spot with the Minister of Aviation. Aviation Canteen, we serve it hot.